Germans have the luxury SUV market sewn up, or so it seems. The past couple of years have seen an ever-increasing amount of competition. Everyone and their mother seems to want to build an SUV these days, and I'm not surprised. It's because it's the fastest growing segment of them all. Ford have had a good look at Mercedes, Audi and BMW and decided that they want a slice of that action, and so we have the new Ford Edge. Now actually America's had the Ford Edge for a while, but after a little bit of tweaking and development for the UK market, we now have this larger SUV and it competes with the likes of the Audi Q5. The new Ford Edge with its big, bold styling certainly cuts a shape into its surroundings. It's a car that you couldn't mistake for any of its competitors, with its big, bold grille, raked headlights and rather angular proportions towards the rear. It looks muscular, stout, and I have to say I quite like it, even in this electric spice, which is very unusual. When it comes to under the bonnet, you have a choice of two 2-litre diesel engines, one a lower output and the other this higher performance 208 brake horsepower, and it develops 450 newton meters of torque, which is great for strong overtaking manoeuvres. I mean, we've got this dawdling van ahead of us, put your foot down and you just sort of sail past it. Bye bye white van man. The torque pickup's really good. There's a little bit of turbo lag, but once this bi-turbo engine gets spooled up, it pulls really strongly. Makes it quite a good cruiser as well. You never feel intimidated on the motorway and unable to make an overtaking manoeuvre. Let's talk about inside the car, because that's quite important. You spend a lot of time in here. This car is in sport specification. It means you get these nice half leather, half Alcantara seats. It's very roomy, it's very spacious, particularly with this glass panoramic roof option that also opens. It lets plenty of natural light into the car. Rear passengers are actually really spoilt because you have the largest amount of legroom available in the class. You'd quite comfortably fit 2 adults back there, and the middle passenger doesn't necessarily pull the short straw because the transmission tunnel is quite low. The cabin in general may lack the incredibly polished feel of its German counterparts, but it's not exactly bad. It's sort of well thought out. You get this 8-inch touchscreen navigation display with Sync 2 in this sport model, but there's sort of nice brush pieces of aluminium. It's well thought out. Yeah, there's some scratchy plastics here and there, but there are also some nice touches like this faux carbon fibre strip on the passenger side. The boot offers a generous 602 litres of space, again class leading, but fold those back seats down and you have 1,788 litres, making this car a bit of a TARDIS really. When it comes to driving the Ford Edge, it's actually at its best when it's cruising. The ride is rather compliant. It doesn't thump and bump into potholes too much, depending upon what alloy wheel size you go for. And yeah, it's very quiet in here. It's got something called active noise cancelling, and basically the speakers emit a specific frequency that cancels out things like wind and engine noise, and so you get this very hushed experience as you drive along. It's quite tranquil and really relaxing. I could see myself actually spending a long time on the motorway just passing the time and not feeling terribly stressed out about things. Now the Edge certainly isn't the most dynamic car in its class, and to be honest, none of these sort of SUVs are the pinnacle of handling, but it does weigh quite a lot, this car, and that's noticeable through the corners with the amount of body roll. But thanks to all-wheel drive, which comes standard across the range, it means that there's plenty of grip and it's quite a reassuring drive on twisty roads. When it comes to transmissions, it depends upon what engine you go for. So the smaller output, you can have a rather good 6-speed manual transmission. The bigger output car is this automatic, and to be honest, the automatic is fairly competent. It's, you know, like I say, the nature of this car, just wafting along, cruising, leaving the car to its own devices is no bad thing. It's a competent gearbox, it knows what it's doing, and it's pretty smooth as well. Whilst the Ford Edge is no Land Rover Discovery, Ford haven't been shy about this car's off-roading credentials. Whilst on the launch here in Scotland, we took the cars off the beaten path, and its intelligent all-wheel drive system, which displaces power to individual wheels, really ploughed on through. And you know, it wasn't the most mountainous terrain, I have to say, but it's certainly more than enough, and it proves the car will cope quite well with some of the bad British weather that we get during the winter. According to Ford, this engine and gearbox combo will net 47.9 mpg combined and emit 152 grams per kilometre of CO2. At £29,995, the Ford Edge is certainly knocking at the door of its German rivals. But all of those German cars have something in common, and that is a very pricey options list. Whereas the sport model of this Edge comes with the 20-inch alloy wheels, the 8-inch touchscreen as standard, and a front wide view facing camera so you can see what's below the nose of the car. Whilst the Ford Edge does enter a highly competitive marketplace, it's something of a feather in Ford's cap really. It's a good package overall, and those looks definitely do set it apart. And in a segment where image is everything, the Ford Edge certainly has, well, you know, the edge.
Thanks very much for watching, and let us know what you think in the comments below. Please subscribe for more on the latest and greatest cars to hit the road. For all of the latest automotive news, written reviews and coverage from motor shows, go to www.insidelane.co.uk.